Let's take a basketball court, 10 people on the court, okay? But let's say I can visualize 10 Robs on the court, okay? Now, I've never played basketball before, Steve, but I can imagine if I was to pick one of me that I want to be in reality, it's going to be over near the goal. So I can see 10 Robs. Where do I want to be? Over near the goal. Surely if I get the ball, stick it in the net, I'm the hero of the game. Surely. Brilliant. Of course you want to be there. How do I get there? You walk over and you take that position. You don't beg for it. You don't crawl for it. You walk over and you take that position. That's what quantum physics says. Hang around the people that you want to be. So if you're at a company that you've seen your manager or sales guys killing it, start hanging around with him and you will automatically succeed in life in any area that you want.
Rob, for those that are sitting there that obviously denial, and you said it, denial plays a big part in addiction. What advice would you have for someone that might be listening to this that is addicted but doesn't know, or, what are the signs? What do they do?
Well, alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. So, there's a slight difference there. Both show up the same. It's just a biological difference. But if you have to ask somebody, do you think I'm drinking or using too much? You are. There's the first one. If you're missing occasions or dinners with parents and stuff or wife, then you are. You got a problem. The idea is to catch it early. And the idea is to look back in your family generation. If you can trace alcoholism back in 3 generations and you drink, there's a probably good chance. Even though alcoholism is the only self-diagnosed illness in the world, it's not how much I drink. Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism. But, the signs that they all say, if I get up in the morning, I want to drink. That's not true. I know for the first 5 or 6 years, I started to drink at 4:00 in the afternoon. That was my time until it's a progressive illness, you see. So it always gets worse. It never gets better. And even though if you come off it and you pay it, you always end up going on because it's this, not this. So normal stuff to keep you away from society or your family. Or you wake up one morning, you can't remember what you did the night before. If that becomes, a couple of times a week, then you have an either abusive alcohol relationship with alcohol, or you're an alcoholic, whichever. Both makes the same. But the idea is to enjoy life. And I know a lot of people are complete abstinence now because alcohol is poison, drugs alter the mind, no matter what you take. Anything foreign that we take into our bodies, even aspirin, has a diverse effect into the body. So, just watch for them signs. Moms and dads, if you think, your 14, 13-year-old kid is, taking drugs or whatever, if he's not coming down for dinner, if he's unkempt, if he's late all the time, go check his bedroom. And moms, it's his privacy. Well, you either do that or you find him dead one night. And who's to blame? Well, I both of you are. You need to take responsibility. Search your room. You find something, dialogue all the time. And if you come from an addictive alcoholic family, when should I have that conversation? The age of 6, 7, 8, around there. My daughter, I found out, never drank because of what she's seen in the house, even at the age of 3. So yeah, it's just information and dialogue, man. That's what it is.
And it's interesting in life as well because when we talk about people growing up through their childhood, they either choose the path and they're attracted to that and they'll take something up, and it can be anything, or they go, do you know what? I'm not drinking because my dad drunk, or I'm not doing this because my mum did that.
Yeah.
I always wonder, what makes that person choose one way or the other?
Well, it's learned behavior and enmeshment from parents. So the childhood trauma is the gateway drug. Let's just put that out here to you guys. Now, everybody has childhood trauma, but alcoholics and addicts are more sensitive to a mild trauma that the average person will think, well, it's nothing. His alcoholics and addicts with mixed with trauma hear things differently. And let me tell you why. So everything I say is research, child tested by us. But I know me and myself went back as a kid. Me and my brother was stood on the kitchen table messing around. And my mom comes in and she says in this exact wording, "You two get down off that table, you stupid idiot. Get out before your dad comes in. My brother jumps off and I freeze. You see, what I've heard, Steve, is go out of that table. You stupid idiot. That's what I've heard. Because the trauma is more sensitive. So I've heard that in the past and taken it that that's what mum was saying. And you know, that's part of the stuff is when we go through trauma as a child, especially back in my day, the actual assault, the molestation, whatever it is in the house that happens, becomes normalized. Because A, you can't talk about it. My priest molested me, and I came home and told my mom, you know what she did? She took a wooden shoe and she smacked me across the backside and sent me up to bed at 4 o'clock, and I never got any food that night. That's the way we were treated. So you can never come out of what happened. So all that trauma. When they used to drop us off at their friend's house on a Friday night, so mum and dad can go drinking and pick us up next morning. As soon as the car pulled out the driveway, we played what's called a run around naked game, where the adults would chase us and tickle us while we were naked. I thought that was a normal game. But you know, for years and years and years and years and years, I would never get undressed in front of everybody. I suffered with relationships and intimacy with, you know, people, and I never knew why until I went to a guy, a mentor, and did my trauma work, and that was because why, you know. And we go through life, and what's happening here is a basis from here. So if you can't keep
Yeah.
relationships, or you can't keep a job, or you're miserable, it correlates right back here to that trauma that happened to you. So you have to go back, uncover, discover, discard of what we're dealing with here. And if you don't, you will always end up dysfunctional here, whatever that looks like for you, because you have to go back and you have to fix that part in your life if you want to be, well, if you want to be 100% of what you're supposed to be. You know, we walk around 45 to 55% of our capability and capacity as human beings. We don't say we're satisfied or we're miserable or this is it in life or this is my. It's not true, guys. You can change. The mind runs the brain. Mind energy over matter, which is the brain. So we can program the mind each morning because it's different parts of the brain reset every 24 hours.
So obviously there we're talking about, you know, treatment of a number of things. But talk to me about, you know, what are your recovery methods? What's your, you know, how do you help people when it comes to addiction and recovering?
So everybody can recover, period. Um, and we have different tools that we use. So it's a 90-day program, 99% online. So we do telehealth. It's an hour a day. We use stuff like brain spotting. We use stuff like 9-dimensional repatterning software that'll repattern. We use psychology, subliminal messaging, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and behavioral science. So the idea is we change you from the inside out. So we repattern. What happens with the brain because of the enmeshment and childhood trauma is most people want to self-sabotage when it comes to the crossroads in life. Self-sabotage or go down the good route. Well, the self-sabotage becomes a comfort zone. So we're going to choose that every single time, even though it hurts us. So we change that patterning. We change the behavior. We'll go to any lengths to make sure that we change the environment around you. So, for instance, the subliminal messaging that we do, if you're going to be a patient and you pass the assessment, you can't buy our services. You've got to earn them. We find out everything about you, your football team, your marriage, your children. We find what college they go to, and you will park at the front of the car park outside. And let's say you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, so you get out, and without you knowing, because it's subliminal. But over here somewhere, there's an old Dallas Cowboy plastic plate that's been placed. They get out to the door, open the door. One of the girls is wearing a Dallas Cowboy badge or something on the uniform. They come into the office, they sit down in the waiting room, there'll be a Dallas Cowboys poster there. So what we've done automatically, and one of the reasons why people don't open up in treatment straight away, is we've made him comfortable because we've got things in common with him. So the mirroring part of the brain picks up that this is a safe place and we're all on the same team. So when he comes into the therapy room, his mind is open and we can start working with him. That's just one thing that we do. There are amongst other things, but we have a 98% success rate, and we put that down to an assessment before we take you on. And secondly, stop concentrating on the alcohol, the drugs, man. That's not the problem. It's 1% to do with the problem. Concentrate on the problem, which is everything we just talked about, and the healing can start to begin. We will bring photographs then from fathers that have died. We'll do some work with them where they talk to their father. We'll put the big picture of father and we'll dress him clothes as if he's actually sat there. And you can do that trauma work. And the second thing is that we do is we include the family. Now you'll see in treatment, family will get invited to the treatment center and it's just a bashed father time. We don't do that. We explain that if, let's say it's a man and wife and the man suffering from alcoholism, if the wife doesn't come on for 2 days a week, we will not take the patient because the family dynamics around addiction is weird. It really is. So the only way I can describe it is, let's say there's a family here, Johnny's the father, he's suffering from alcoholism. So treatment center comes along, they pick him out of there, they speak English, they pick him out of the English speaking house and they put him in treatment. Now, a good treatment recovery has its own language. Let's say it's Spanish. So we teach him Spanish. That's a little amazing. Then we pick him up after treatment and we stick him back in the English speaking house. What's going to happen? He's going to start speaking English again. So we educate both. And the first thing the woman says, well, it's nothing to do with me. He's causing all the problems, in this dysfunctional household. And the first thing we say to her, okay, so you've got nothing to do with it. No. Well, explain this to me, Mrs. Smith. Why'd you let your husband come home 2 or 3 times a week drunk and beat you up in front of your children? The waterworks start and the realization that this is a family illness and a family recovery.
Yeah, wow. And that really buys into, environment plays such a big part. I talk to people and, they'll say, oh, this or that. And I'll say, well, who are you hanging around? What's your environment? Are you in a good environment? Are you in an environment that supports that, or an environment that, kind of frowns upon it or doesn't even have it included?
If you hang around 9 depressed people, you will become the 10th. One person cannot change 9 people, but 9 people can change one person without you even knowing. How do we know this? So show me your friends, I'll show you your future. We bring 9 actors into the waiting room and they are told a couple of things. When the buzzer goes in the waiting room, stand up. 10 seconds, sit down again. That's all you got to do is going to be several buzzers, stand up, sit down. We'll call you in one by one. Then we invite a patient in. We go, hey, Mrs. Smith, come in. We've got this. Let's do a free session. Just want to catch up. She's oblivious to it. She comes in, she sits down. The stage is set. How easy is it to sing one person as in who I hang around? 9 actors stand up. She thinks they're patients, obviously. 5 seconds, she's looking at her phone, glances up, she's back at her phone. Everyone sits down. Second buzzer. Everyone stands up again. Now she's looking around, the phone goes on her lap. And she's looking around these guys. Third buzzer. She stands up with everybody else and she sits down with everybody else. We call the actors in one by one until she's the only patient in the waiting room. She stood up. That's how easy it is for people around you to convince you that you're a piece of shit, you'll never amount to anything, you can't do this, you can't do that. And you've got to separate from them guys and join the guys that keep saying, well, of course you can. I was in Dallas for 14 years and I said to my friends, I'm thinking of writing a book. The reaction was negative. You can't write a book, you're not an author. Right, I'm not being funny, but it's just a boring story. Everyone's been through it. Never wrote a book, Steve. Come to San Antonio 4 years ago. I got a new set of friends. Thinking of writing a book. Oh my God, you've not wrote a book? What is wrong with you, Rob? You've got to write that book. So I wrote a book. Simple as that. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You have to hang around the guys that you want to be. And there may be a lonely period transforming from your old friends to your new friends. But if you don't, they'll drag you back in that cesspit that you've been in for the last 20 years. And they'll do it really cleverly, like the waiting room. You won't know it's happening. You'll just follow behavior. So I say to people all the time, I grew up on the projects and I can go back there if need be and I can help people there. I just can't live there anymore. And that's the difference.
Yeah. So you talk about environment and that plays a big part. What are some other key elements, for those people listening, what are some key elements that people need to change or people need to input into their lives, like environment? What are some other key things that are contributing to, you know, their addiction?
We tied food to addiction, um, and stuff like that. So there's three things, guys, I want you to do every morning, and your life will change from tomorrow. So I talked about the oxygen, man. On the normal circadian sleep pattern, between the hours of 2 and 5 is when the body is at its most repair. Okay. So we wake up with a lack of oxygen, which is why nobody's woke up laughing. I need you to 20 exaggerated breaths in and out. Let's get that oxygen in. The brain's ready to go. You're going to go dizzy, but you're ready to go. This is it. Yeah, ready to go. Go into the bathroom. If you brush your teeth with your right hand, do a week on the left, week on the right, week on the left, week on the right for a month. Alternative brushing your teeth. It'll seem stupid at the beginning, but we're restructuring patterns because brushing your teeth is a pattern. We can do it without even thinking about it. So when we do a certain thing, that's called the basal ganglia, it picks that up. It's a repetition, strength, and confirms. So we don't know we're even doing it. When we change that, we reintroduce 300 neural pathways die every day. What are we replacing them with? Well, this is what we're replacing them with. Third thing, stand in front of the mirror, stand 6 feet away and say, I love you 10 times. If 300 neural pathways die every day, what are you replacing them with? Now, the only rule of that is don't stand near the mirror when you're doing shaving or putting makeup on, girls, because you see all your blemishes, okay? That's not how people see you. When's the last time you were in the office? Hey, Jimmy, great. We don't do that. It's 6 feet away. So when you stand 6 feet away, all your blemishes disappear. Subconsciously, that's how you go out to the world with more confidence. You know, you're 25% better looking than you think you are. You're 20% cleverer than you think you are. You just got to start finding the ID. So if you compliment 3 people every day, and let's get that dopamine going for them and for us, that's going to change your life. Molecular with the breathing, conscious brain with the breathing, repatterning of brain with the teeth, and confidence builder into the subconscious brain with the I love yous in front of the mirror. Keep doing that every day. I guarantee your life will get better and better and better. And you'll start finding out who you are. The oxygen is very, very important to life. You see, human beings are not meant to sit down inside. We sit down in the car, we go office, we sit down, we podcast, we sit down, we see patients, we sit down, we back in the car, we go and watch TV. Human beings are not supposed to sit down. That's why we're dying younger than we should do. So we got to stop telling Granny to put an extra coat on in the house and turn the fire up a little bit. You got to get it out in the elements. You've got to get out, do some grounding, get outside as much as you can, guys. I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. You know, another hour in the gym is another day onto your life. It's stuff like that. It's not a fad going to the gym. I don't really want to get fit. It's nothing to do with that. You need 20 minutes exercise, oxygen, and flowing of the blood to make sure that you live a productive life. So get to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. Get the oxygen done every morning. Do these things. Try and eat a little bit more raw foods. Don't be falling into... I did a live TV thing the other day, Steve, and we went into the supermarket and I didn't know what we were doing. We were just picking up health bars and our arms say this, how bad the food is. And this bar stuck out and it was something Valley, a real well-known protein, health bar. And it had 9 grams of protein and 0 fat. And I pulled it off the shelf and I showed the camera. I'm like, I'm going to buy this for all of my family because it's really healthy. But just let me spin the thing around to see what's on. First ingredient, canola oil. Second ingredient, sunflower oil. Third ingredient, GMO. It's like rancid stuff, man. You can't be eating this stuff and expect to be happy with life. You're just not going to do it. So I'm not saying everybody go to Whole Foods or, spend a fortune on meat. 1 day a week. Stop with the burgers already. Have some grass-fed meat, cook your oils in coconut oil, olive oil with the eggs and just have 1 day, man, where you're eating clean and drinking water and it'll make a difference, man. It really will. But people don't believe it's that easy and it really is that easy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wanted to ask you, for those that are sitting there, there's obviously people that go through the addiction. And obviously for me going through, fatigue, anxiety, depression, was hard. I say though that it's almost harder for, your partner or your family that are going through it. And I'd love your advice for those listening that, know someone that's, addicted, whether it's a father, whether it's a brother, whether it's a husband. What are some tips and what are some advice that you would give them to help them support that person into
Great
recovery?
question. Great question, man. I'm telling you, great question. First of all, guys, is if there's alcoholism in the family, it's a disease. Okay, so the first thing, and drug addicts are almost the same, but let's say it's a disease for them too. So that's the first thing, that 9 or 10 times when they get to a certain point, it's not the person's fault. The hypothalamus, which is I told you before, this is our survival part of the brain. So the hypothalamus tells every human being to drink water, eat food to survive. That's all. It also does the temperature, but that's it, man. So whatever your hypothalamus tells you to do, you're going to do. So they drink water every day and the eating food becomes that basal ganglia working part of the mind, so we don't have to think about it. At a certain point of the alcoholic's drinking career, because that's what it was for me, and this is real serious, the hypothalamus turns around and tells the alcoholics to drink alcohol to survive. Now think about this, guys. It's the reason I can go days or weeks without food or water, because the survival part of the brain is telling me if I don't drink alcohol, I'm going to die. So that's the first thing you have to realize. Secondly, dialogue again. Dialogue, man, all the time. Dialogue and education around it. You've got to be there to love them and support them, but you've got to be careful you don't cross that line to enabling. So information, education, dialogue with people around you. Now, the sad thing is in this world, and we've proven this time and time again, is everybody knows somebody who suffers from alcoholism or drug addiction. And if you don't, it's probably you. And that's everywhere I go with my accent. I always get talking to people. I wear silly glasses all the time because it's a conversation start. Because most people are going through something that they won't talk about. So the amount of times, oh my God, you're English. Oh my God, what do you do for a living over here? My sister, my brother, my aunt suffers from. So everybody's going through everything, guys. So it's about building a confidence and trying the best to build them up and get help, because there's a lot of shit happening out there that we don't know is happening. Everybody's going through something. So even come away a little bit from that, depression or whatever. There's a great story I tell when I speak at conferences. There's a guy goes to the Golden Gate Bridge and throws himself off and commits suicide. The police pull him out of the water. They find ID. They go back to his apartment looking for next of kin. What they find is a letter on the kitchen table. And it read, I'm going to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge, which was an hour's walk, by the way. I'm going to throw myself off and commit suicide. Unless on the way there, somebody smiles at me, nods at me, winks at me, says good morning. I'll stop right there. I'll come back to the apartment and I'll try again tomorrow. Question. How many people have you walked past today who's heading to the Golden Gate Bridge? We just don't know, man. So smarter people, if someone's honest and blessed enough to come and trust you with their stuff, do something about it. Whatever it is, encourage, build people up all the time. There's one thing I say to all my guys around me, and that is, when somebody walks away from you, they should be a better person for it. And if they're not, you're doing something wrong, man. It's our job to encourage. It's our job to be a kind of pep rally. It's our job to inspire people when they walk away from us feeling better than when they met us. Again, you never know. Even you never know, guys, what you're going through, because we don't want to share it with the world. And a smile or a good morning or a compliment. If you don't think compliments work and can't change lives, guys, always do me a favor. Next time you're in a built-up area of people, sneakers are always the best, man. When somebody's walking towards you with cool sneakers, I want you to say 2 words to them as you're passing them. Nice sneakers. And they'll go, oh, thank you, man. Turn around, watch them walk away from you. They're going to look down at the sneakers at least 2 to 3 times. Now you've just changed his world, but guess what? When he goes on to the girlfriend or the wife, because he's in a good mood, she's in a good mood, then the mother-in-law calls and you get the gist. You've just changed the world with 2 freaking words. And you'll never know. You'll never know you've done that. But can you imagine you smiling at somebody or saying nice sneakers and that guy's heading to the Golden Gate Bridge. Can you imagine how many lives you could save in a week? So just think on, man. Just think on. We can change other people in a second.
Yep. Yep. And we all hold the power to make someone's day.
That's what people don't know. Is that surely not me? Yeah, you. I tell you something that I've learned over 30 years of doing what I do is that nobody's going to be listening to this podcast by mistake. It never happens like that. You will stumble along this if you need to hear the information that Steve and I are talking about today. You will not be here by mistake. That the stories I hear about people coming to me, woman picks the guy up again. He's drunk from alcohol. This is it. I'm finished with you. I'll drive you home, but I'm leaving. Da 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 da. And the music's on in the car, and he's kind of drunk. And he says, "I want my rock music on." And he leans forward, and you go over the bump, and he presses 2 instead of 3. And there's me on a podcast on the radio. Completely multimillionaire, got his kids back. Great. It's stuff like that. So you are not listening to this by mistake. So think about why you've heard this information, because you can be that leader. You see, no one's knocking at the door, guys, to come in to save us. No one's knocking on the door and go, "Hey, Rob, there's that $1 million job," or no one's coming, guys. So it's up to us to take that initial and seek out people like us. Hang around the people that you want to be. Like even money, which I thought would make me happy, but it hasn't and never will. But if I'm on 20 grand a year and I have aspirations of earning 40 grand a year, you can't hang around the people you're hanging around now. You've got to hang around the people that are on $40,000 a year, and you will become the 10th. 9 depressed people, 10. 9 successful people, you will become the 10th. That's the key to life, man. And if you think you can't be successful, you're right. And if you think you can be successful, you're right. The power of the mind will blow you away. Quantum physics practices. So look at quantum physics. Excuse me. Let's take a basketball court. 10 people on the court, okay? But let's say I can visualize 10 Robs on the court, okay? Now, I've never played basketball before, Steve, but I can imagine if I was to pick one of me that I want to be in reality, it's going to be over near the goal. So I can see 10 Robs. Where do I want to be? Over near the goal. Surely if I get the ball, stick it in the net, I'm the hero of the game. Surely. Brilliant. Of course you want to be there. How do I get there? You walk over and you take that position. You don't beg for it. You don't crawl for it. You walk over and you take that position. That's what quantum physics says. Hang around the people that you want to be. So if you're at a company that you'd senior manager or sales guy is killing it, start hanging around with him and you will automatically succeed in life in any area that you want.
Yep.
Yeah.